The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
There's something that can be done as a possibility and it's going to benefit, then we'll try to connect those dots. You know what you're capable of, you've run at that pace, and now you have to redirect. Welcome to Moments of Strength. I'm your host, Mary Kaufman. In this show, we celebrate the incredible resilience of mothers showing up through every triumph and carving out space for their own passions and identity. We are here to uplift and reassure every mom that you are not alone and that asking for help is a powerful strength. Each episode brings a story of motherhood's beautiful chaos. I'm happy you could join us today. And today, actually, we are going to flip the script a little bit to open season 3. So I've brought in a guest host today, and I'm actually going to be the one that's being interviewed. Thought that was only fair. So my guest host today is actually my daughter, Molly. So welcome, Molly.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here. And I think we're just going to start at the beginning in your childhood.
Yeah, so the format of the show really is to sort of linearly walk through the journey of motherhood. So we'll start there, and then as that's going, if you have any kind of question, I mean, you can ask. If I don't want to discuss that on camera, then we'll talk about it at home.
Of course.
But yeah, so I'm going to relinquish control to you in the show, which is difficult. So yeah, so interrupt with any questions or ask whatever. But to start, you know me, I would love to start like the day I was born, but we don't have that kind of time. So I was born in California to parents who were in the military. So as you know, your grandpa flew F-4s in the Air Force, and they already had one child, my older brother, and then I was born, and we lived in California a short time after I was born, maybe a year. And from there, my childhood really unfolded military style back in the 70s and 80s. So we moved many times, and those moves included living in California, then Philippines, Iceland, Hawaii, moved to Alabama. We were there for a year, and then Las Vegas. And that's really, so by the time we moved to Las Vegas, I was just going to be starting kindergarten. So all of those moves that happened prior to that were just like before I was 5. So then lived in Las Vegas, and we were there for 4 years. And those are really when like my kind of memories of childhood start. I mean, I have peppered memories from being younger in those other places, but so yeah, so lived in Las Vegas for 4 years, and highlights from there really, you know, I've been to Vegas since then as an adult, as you know, because you stayed back, but going to Circus when we were little was a big deal. And that's where I learned to really play soccer. So soccer was not really a thing in the U.S. Until around that time. I think I was 7. And so started playing soccer. My parents really afforded us opportunities to do all kinds of stuff, which, you know, on this show we talk a lot about how things that happen when you're young affect you when you're an adult. And so as my daughter, you understand that like providing opportunity is like, would you agree?
Yeah,
something
for sure.
That happens in our house.
Yes.
So I learned that from my parents, and you know, we didn't make a ton of money. We lived on Air Force bases typically, and my parents prioritized really having us experience new things. So when I was in Vegas too, like I got to be a junior security police. And so I went to a training, and I had a uniform, I had some shiny shoes that I loved. and a badge. And they had us do things like salute cars to come on the base. And I really thought I had made it. And yeah, so there, of course, was a legit military police there, but he could have gone and I could have taken care of it. I felt pretty capable. So, so yeah, just opportunities like that were kind of not typical of like childhood. So we lived there, and then we got orders to move to Germany. I remember I was 9, and it was very exciting. I always like to go to a new place, but also I was going to get my military ID, because when you turn 10 in the military, you get an ID, and then freedom reigns. You can go to the stores and do things without your parents, and so I was very excited for that. And so that took us to Germany, and that really is my first really overseas trip where I have memories of doing things. Oh, and when we were in Vegas, my younger sister was born too. So now we were traveling with 3. Mm-hmm. And I think, I really enjoyed moving there. And again, like, new experiences were always a thing. Home base, we really didn't have one, but we did visit my grandparents. So your great-grandparents lived on either side of Iowa. And so we would visit them. That was maybe like the closest thing to like a home base that I had. Mm-hmm. So, so we would go there between moves. Okay. And so that has become the place of nostalgia for me, you know. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we went to Germany, lived there for 3 years, and super fortunate to be able to travel to many different countries, mm-hmm. because the service set up trips for like spouses and dependents to go. So we traveled all over Europe, and that was very eye-opening for me. I think, the first time I knew what a homeless person was, I was in Italy, and I was mm-hmm. in I think 7th grade. That's a very different experience, obviously now, mm-hmm. but also to not have any awareness of that. I lived in Las Vegas for 4 years and I was young, but also didn't have an awareness of that. And so, mm-hmm. So eye-opening for many reasons, obviously the history and all the places that I visited, but also kind of moments of clarity about like the world isn't always what, I see every day. Mm-hmm. So,
do you remember having like a favorite place that you visited or lived?
Yes. So I think Germany was my favorite place to live. Mm-hmm. And the favorite place I visited when I was there, we went to Italy. And Italy's beautiful, and there's so much history there, and I have memories of that. And so mm-hmm. I think that is part of it. We went to Pompeii when we were there.
Cool.
Yeah. And so I can relive walking through there and just the profound nature of understanding that people's lives were stopped in an mm-hmm. instant. And just seeing that space was moving and sort of life-defining moment, mm-hmm. That's something so much bigger than you can end your life immediately. Yeah. So that was so profound for me. And then also we took a bus there. So it was like a big, comfy coach bus. Mm-hmm. And I've always just been interested in people. And I think since a young age, I was pretty shy when I was very young. I'd call myself probably a forced or learned extrovert, because people over time, I think part of that is I didn't always know where I was, mm-hmm. always arriving at a new place. But then just the curiosity about all the different kinds of people, and it never ends, mm-hmm. and I still feel like that. But so we sort of made friends with the people on the bus, and there was an elderly couple there who, they were just fun. And so that experience in traveling, not just getting to the destination, but experiencing mm-hmm. that with other people. And Italy Italy was my favorite, but I mean, everything else is a close second, you know, France and England, and we went to a lot of places. So yeah. And that was just, I mean, that was up to 7th grade. Again, it's just chock full, you know. My little brother was born there, so he's 10 years younger than I am. So right after we got there, he was born. And so now there's 4 of us. And, you know, when your parents is in the military, they have things that they do. And especially in the 80s, well, I don't know, especially in the 80s, different than other decades, but like my dad was busy. And then if we moved, he would go ahead and then we would come after. And thinking about that as a parent now and what my mom was doing, and she was young, in her 20s, like just hauling your households to the Philippines with 2 young kids, like a 23-hour flight. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I would like opt in.
Yeah.
But she did it, and I think, you know, that's so much of where we learned, my siblings and I think I speak for them when I say, like, watching my parents, observing my parents, and being part of that sort of carved a life of things are an opportunity, you know? So we've all done different things with observing that, but you can, like, it's possible you could do it, you know, and just watching my parents do things, it's like, wow, you know, at that age. Now, some of that was, they didn't have a choice. You know, if you were ordered to go to Germany, you went. So you had to figure that out. But just in being able to figure that out and then toting your kids along with that, and it wasn't as easy. It's difficult in more ways now, but just logistically, you know, it wasn't the internet. You just had to do things on paper and sort of show up and like find your resource. And so I think we learned a lot just by existing in that space.
How do you think that has like gone into your parenting, like watching your parents or like your mom specifically?
So of the 2, I think my mom was, you know, my parents weren't loud, but she was sort of the maybe quiet presence. So again, you know, we lived in a house, my dad went to work, my mom stayed home with us, but she did go to school when we were in Las Vegas to be a nurse. And she didn't do anything with that right away because we moved to Germany, and then she stayed home with us. And the tandem way that they worked to keep us going, I think, you know, taught me a few things about being capable. Because really my mom, even though my dad set it up logistically, my mom was executing it with the kids. And what do you think? I mean, when you look at how our family is currently, I mean, I feel like I do that so much, you know. And just like, I think, you know, there was about a decade in my life, my 20s, where like I sort of was all over the place. I wasn't like choosing a direction or anything like that. But before that and after that, really committing to something if you're going to commit to it. And then when you break a commitment, like understanding the fallout from that or the repercussions of that. So growing up as a person who just leaves everything, I mean, it feels like you can just leave things, you know, and you probably never see those people again, although I've reconnected with a few. But as much as that situation teaches you about how to be strong and everything's an opportunity and how to be capable, and living on an Air Force base, everyone is aimed at the same thing. So that's a different way to grow up. You know, at least one parent in the household had a job. And so every child on that base had at least one parent that was employed. And that's not, I mean, that's such a removed society from how things are in the world. So being in that environment, it's like, oh, you know, I would have a job. And so that's the trajectory you're on. So as much as that teaches or taught us different ways to live, sort of the other side of that is, well, you could just leave it, you know? So, and you felt that personally, you know, as a kid, because, you know, there's divorce involved here and remarriage. And, but as an adult now at this age, having done so much reflection and unpacking of all of that and pulling the thread, you know, I really have tied it back to, this being able to leave, and everywhere you show up is a new existence. So that's very fun when you're the person doing that, you know. But there is, you know, fallout and carnage if you do that and you break a commitment. So so I think in my parenting, you know, watching my parents, I feel grateful for the parents that I had. They worked very hard to make sure that myself and my siblings were able to go into the world and provide for ourselves and take care of ourselves. But yeah, there's always, you know, a yin to every yang. So yeah, so from Germany, went to Alabama. So that was a big difference too. And, you know, we lived off base, so I went to a civilian school, and it was just a different scene there. I mean, we took a bus, and just coming out of these on-base schools, like there were just so many different dynamics to work with and try to ingest and figure out my place. So anytime I went somewhere new, mostly my process was really to observe and see how things go and then merge in. And I've learned, you know, for me, that worked because you can find a place. And just like on the highway, if you're merging, it's your responsibility to see what's happening and move in. It's not everybody else's responsibility to stop and make space for you. Now, it's nice if those two things match up, but I learned to sort of observe and find my place. And so Alabama was a tricky one. And yeah, we had played sports up until then. They didn't have soccer there at the time. I wasn't skilled enough at basketball to try out for their team. So that was just, we were there for a year, and I don't know, it was just different. We lived off base. It was a sort of a transition year, I think, for me to understand more civilian world.
Was that the first school that you were off base for?
Actually, in Las Vegas, we went to school off base, but the school was so close to the base.
Okay.
I mean, there were civilian kids there, but there were a lot of military kids there too. So kids that would only be there for a year or something like that. But also in Las Vegas, I went to a private school for a couple years. And we took a bus. It was kind of far away. And then that was also off base. But again, it was like a private school. So, so it was a little bit, I don't know, there's uniformity to the things that we were involved in, I guess, So that, and being aware, you know, in 8th grade, you suddenly are like, I see everyone else, they see me. So, yeah. I remember one time in that school, I had an ink pen in my pocket and like exploded. And I had like cream-colored pants on and just like ink everywhere. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a crisis, you know? And I just went to the office and I was like, hey, I need new pants. And they're like, we don't have any. I'm like, what kind of school is this? No, obviously not their issue, but then I called my mom to bring new pants. And then I just went like stood in the bathroom because I'm like, it's safe in here. But like just those, you know, being hyper aware of everything is sort of crisis ridden in middle school and stuff like that. So, so yeah, that was just like so different. And then from there, huge swing, moved to Minnesota. I'm like, what is this hockey thing? So that is a different thing too when you're in the military. Now it's so seamless because of, you know, all the digital connections. But back then we weren't connected to anything. So we would get movies late in Germany. You know, kids here. Trends, like we didn't know. I mean, I grew up wearing like the same shirt everybody else wore because you shopped at the BX on base, and they had like these options. They come in 4 colors. So I never grew up like prioritizing fashion. And so still.
I've seen in some pictures.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Of course.
Yeah. We don't. I mean, it is funny to break those out, but no. Hair, fashion, I don't know. Sometimes I thought.
But was it true?
No. It was just relative to my experience.
Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the other thing is, like, I'd never seen what hockey was, and I was going to be a freshman in high school. And
that's so, like, crazy to think about.
I know. Yes. And then we moved to Minnesota, and then, like, the school I went to my freshman year had its own hockey rink. And so for a gym class was curling. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, so that was so eye-opening. And I think, there are a couple ways to approach that. Now, for me, I had a very open, curious sort of personality about people and things. I wasn't super happy to jump into a new experience. Again, I would like try to observe a little bit and then see if that was, what are other people, other people like falling a lot? Am I going to do that? And so assessing the risk, and but then ultimately I just wanted to have fun too. So a lot of times that won over. But yeah, I remember, just like changing schools so much and that observing thing. And then if I were going to say there was one thing growing up that was sort of a recurring pocket of like anxiety-ridden experience would be like lunch on the first day at a new school. Because what do you think? I mean,
yeah,
people already...
Everyone's established for the most part.
Yeah. And in Minnesota, they don't have like a military base. My dad was done flying by then and was doing the ROTC, running the ROTC program at the University of Minnesota for Air Force. And so there wasn't a base. We lived, just in a suburb. And so there was a lot to kind of juggle there. And the very first day of my freshman year, I just had my lunch bag. And I picked the corner of a table that was like kind of in the corner of the lunchroom so I could see everything. And I like took out my sandwich, set it on the table, took out my chips, I think, set it on the table. And then in came like the football team. And that was their table. And that's why it was empty, because everybody else like knew that. And so they all sat down, it was like a lot of activity, and
they sat down all around you.
They sat down all, but I was in the corner, right? So I just was like, assess the risk and put my chips back in, put my sandwich back in, and then, quietly get up and to the other side. Yeah. And then just sat at a table where it's kind of like just a hodgepodge, no defined groups. So, and then over time, observing and just showing up, but again, merging in worked out for me okay. But yeah, those just little moments that you remember. I mean, that was many years ago, and I still clearly remember that. So,
were you at that school for all 4 years?
No, because we were waiting for a house that my parents were buying. And so we lived in an apartment. Okay. And then my mom found out she was pregnant then too. And so we were going to have my youngest sister, who actually same parents and 15 years younger. And then by the time she was born, we were in our new house that moved us to a new district. And she grew up in the same house her whole life.
That is so crazy that you have had such different experiences, but same parents.
Yeah. And so, same humans, but they parented similarly, but you just, it's really hard to parent your kids the same because you grow as a person. So finished high school there. That was great, pretty good experience, played sports, and then left there and went to college, and then did 4 years undergrad. And when I came out of college, I had a BA in psych, it's harder to find something to do with just being in psych. We've talked about
Right.
that. Makes sense to get your master's at least, but I was not in a position to keep going at school at that time. And so got out of school and got a job working in call centers. That was fun. And just an influx of people, always new people coming in. And I worked in call centers and hotels, and for a decade just sort of retail, and I was mostly focused on like just, I don't know, enjoying. I didn't have like a defined goal. And I think that's because, you know, my parents really set goals for me throughout childhood. And then, like, where were they? But I was an adult. So, so yeah, you know, I lived with my best friend, and we had a great time just existing in the day-to-day. I was not saving any money. I was just existing, you know? And then, and relationship-wise, you know, had a serious relationship, left that, moved, and then ended up in Wisconsin, and then met your dad. And then we dated for 4 years, and then got married. And then, and we worked at the same place too. And that was very fun. And then we decided that like, maybe we wouldn't like work together and come home and just 24/7, you know? And so then I left and went to work in retail and managed that. Again, influx of people. You know, I've been able to draw all these connections over time, but and so then let's see, we were married a couple years, and then I was pregnant with you, and I was managing at Kohl's at the time, and I was super excited that I was going to have a baby. And I included you in like all the things that happened at work.
Of course.
So I'd be like, well, Molly thinks we had, first of all, we didn't know if you were girl or boy. And we had a couple names picked out, but occasionally referred to as Molly. So, and I forget what we were going to name you if you were a boy, but it doesn't matter.
Dad probably remembers.
He definitely, thank goodness, remembers things. And so... yeah, so I would just, I mean, you're in my belly, but I would include you in all the things, like taking care of things at the customer service desk and just like give your opinion to the ladies that were working there and stuff. We had a great time. And then you were born, and, you know, everything up until that point, everything matters, obviously. But, you know, when you become a mom, it's... you know, like, it's something so much bigger than you, you know, and it really does. It changes your life because, I mean, you're responsible for somebody else, like, forever. And it will test the things that, like, you're capable of. And it really teaches you, like, how much you can feel and also what you will sacrifice for somebody else. So... so yeah, you were born, you were breech, so you were sitting up, you know. Of course. So then I had to have a C-section. And you were breech, and they did tell me they could try to flip you, but it wasn't like guaranteed that you'd stay. I feel like this is still you, but anyways, so I was like, nah, if she wants to sit up, it's fine with me. Which was also a funny thing, you know, when I'd be at work, because I could picture you like right there with me sitting
I was always in it.
Yeah, you were like trying to observe from an early age. And so then I had a C-section, and they were like, can you get up and walk today, like the next day? And I was like, no, like I cannot.
How dare they even ask you to do that?
Like, don't I just lay here now? And so then, you know, we had those days where we were, you know, checking on you and stuff was going on, and the focus, of course, shifted to you, and you know, I don't think we need to get into like all of that, but like those moments in the hospital, recognizing that like nothing about me mattered more than you. And so the second day they didn't have to ask me. Like I was up, showered, put my clothes on, like just adrenaline and like making sure you were okay. Kind of took over. And I think those days are really what we talk about, moments of strength, you know, as a parent. And those days are really what I think for me solidified, like, I mean, I'm committed to this. Even for somebody who has a hard time with commitment prior to that, you know, because I could just leave and stuff. It's like, no, like in those moments it was like anything, I could do anything, whatever you needed.
Do you think you felt like an instant like switch when I was born, or do you think it was more like gradual with the days that followed?
Yeah, so I think those first maybe like 48 hours were like elated, you know, like you're here and it's like incredible and you can't believe like a human, you know, it's just like, it's so strange really. But I think it's more like, it's like an overwhelming love and like relief and like, yay, you know, like you're here. And then it's just like, you want to like spend time and like you would have to go to the nursery or something. And like your dad and I would just be sitting there and we're like, wonder what she's doing. Like, when's she coming back? You know, like you were like the focus and we were so happy. And then, you know, when things come up and it feels like a threat or like, you know, they're working something out or whatever, that's, I think, what is like, I would literally do anything, you know, so gradual, but in a short time, you know. And I think, you know, we didn't know you, you know, so it's like those first days are like, just, she's here and this is who she is and you can't believe it. And and especially the way we give birth here, you know, you're in a hospital, everybody's helping you and like it's comfortable. Giving birth isn't, but just the scene, you know, there's resources there and stuff, so it allows you to sort of like be in awe of your baby and so, you know, thousands of years ago, it was like, have a baby and they're immediately under threat.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like that anymore. But so I think maybe that is where that gradual nature came in. So yeah.
Did you feel like that kind of same feeling of like, oh my gosh, you're here with the next three too?
Yeah, so yes, there's, I would say, similar feelings. So it's, we don't know you, you know, like when your sister came, then, well, and, you know, I had a miscarriage in between. And so then, you know, everything that happens to you sort of compounds what happens next, you know. And then your sister came and like, she's so cute and little and she had all that hair, you know, and she just was like, I don't know, it's like, you're so happy they're here. You know, you made it. And and again, a C-section, you know, but then I'd been through it. So then I was like, whatever, you know, let's get out of here. So, and then we brought her home, and, you know, every kid is their own personality. And I think, you know, you were the first baby and I could stay home with you by myself, uninterrupted. So I could anticipate like your every need. So you didn't really have a need to like tell me. Because I knew like, oh, she's going to need a bottle. Oh, I should probably change her diaper. First of all, it wasn't like a maternal instinct. No, it was just like, okay, approximately
routine,
now.
Yeah.
And so you didn't really have to say and make a noise, cry. You didn't have to be uncomfortable because it was me and you and I was on it. But then when we brought your sister home, now I have a 1.5-year-old, and you were very, you know, you could communicate very well at a young age. And now something was like in the way of me anticipating your needs. And I wanted to give so much attention to her and also you. And that first night I was like so torn up because I'm like, what are we doing here? Like I need another of me, you know, because I want full attention for her and full attention for you. And I felt like you were aware, and it was really hard. I called my mom and I was like, Mom, and you know, I don't cry like really, but I was like, Mom, and she was like, it's going to be okay. She's like, tomorrow you'll wake up and it'll just be a little bit easier, you know, and it wasn't. No, just kidding. She was right. When you look back, I was like, oh, it did get easier over the time. But, you know, those first weeks were really hard because as a mom, you want to meet all the needs of all your kids, but you're one person. And also you have to eat, you know, or whatever. And so, so those days were challenging. Another thing is I kept you home from daycare. So, because I was like, I was thinking I don't know what I was thinking. Like it was like guilt or something. I didn't want you to feel slighted because there was another baby. No. Okay, no. I would have redone that because the benefit to you would be you got to be in a place with other kids. And so it's like, so I took away that because I wanted to give you the same attention. Yeah. And it was so impossible. So sorry, these years later. But we did all right. You know, you helped with the baby, and it was just sleepless. And yeah, I would fall asleep sometimes with both of you falling asleep, just like dozing off in the recliner. And yeah. And then frightening moments, like when you had a toddler bed, and we were so excited that, this was before she was born, but we were excited that you could sleep in your toddler bed and then wake up. And I'm like, where is she? Like, and panic to death and run around the house and check like outside and stuff. And you had just rolled out of the bed and then rolled under the bed to the back of the wall. But those moments.
Why didn't I wake up for that? Just
would
accept
you even
it.
now,
Probably not.
You're a really good sleeper. Like, you're champion sleeper, you know, of all the kids. So yeah, just those moments of like, but going from 1 to 2, we talk about this a lot as moms, just in general. I think going from 1 to 2 is probably the most jarring. Even I would say more jarring than going from 0 to 1, because 0 to 1 you have that time to plan where you're not carrying further. 1 to 2 is pretty jarring, and then after that, it's like, you know, join the party. But then you're outnumbered as parents. So, yeah, I don't know. There's challenges everywhere. But I think you were 5 when then your next sister came. Yeah. And, I mean, you were a pretty mature kid. You know, you already had been through it. You're like, this show is interviewing you.
Actually is about my experience with mothering as an oldest child.
Yeah. I don't think that's wrong in some ways. You know, you are counted on as the oldest to do many things. But yes, you were 5 and then she came. Oh, so we shouldn't skip over. So when you were 3 and, let's see, I think the two of you were 3 and just 3.5 and just turned 2. Is when Mike and I got divorced. And, you know, I think looking back, like making decisions like that impact the trajectory of your kids, like in such a profound way. You know, like reflecting on that and just thinking like, how did that change who you are from who you would have been? You know, as a parent, you would just carry that with you always. But so for that first year, you know, Mike and I agreed, well, we agreed this for the entirety of the time, just that no matter how we felt, we would put the needs, you know, of the two of you first in all things. And you know, there were times when that was really hard because, you know, we're two different people, and divorce is a difficult thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you have a hard time communicating, it's near an impossible thing. Fortunately for us, we always could communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And so for that first year, like, we talked every day. We allowed the two of you to get on the phone. And then pretty soon, you know, we were allowing you to sort of guide us in some ways because, like, you guys didn't want to necessarily talk to the other parent every night. And I think I understood that better as, like, well, okay, they want to be present here, maybe compartmentalize that, and that makes it easier or whatever. And then, you know, then he met your now stepmom, and that has been great. And she's, you know, a beautiful person who has just taken that role very seriously, and I think been there for the two of you just like any mom. So, so I feel fortunate for that. I feel fortunate for you for that. You know, and then I got remarried, and so fortunately for all of us, like, the four parents always put the needs of the kids first in that. So divorce is, you know, can be horrendous. I think we tried to do the best we could with the situation that we were in.
Yeah.
So.
And I wouldn't have it any other way because I like how things turned out. So that's good.
And not without difficulty.
Yeah.
You know, not without emotional turmoil sometimes, and you know, wanting to be in two places at once. And I think, you know, we've tried to talk about that over the years, and you know, talking helps. I think it doesn't change what you feel inside.
Yeah.
So so yeah, but then after I got married, and they got married, and she had 4 daughters. So then you gained 4 sisters there, all older than you, which was great. And that's been fun to follow from my position. And also they are all wonderful to you. And so, excuse me. And then, so then we had a baby. And so that was 3rd sister.
Yes.
And that was a different experience because now there were 2 kids. You guys were gone, like, on the weekends, school here. And then, you know, she has a very strong personality and has since she was born. And she is fortunate to have that. And we are fortunate to have her.
Yes.
And she has taught us a lot about strength and just all the things, humor and all of that. But the blending of those entities, you know, just like as a mom, missing you, you know, when you were gone, that was so hard for me. Even though I was confident you were being taken care of and got along with everybody, it's still like a whole. And, you know, so your newest sister and I just like bonded the times you guys were gone. So we were very close. And I think the 3 of you were always playing and very close. And she was not afraid to try to run things.
No.
Yeah. And so, yeah. So that blending of families, you know, over time, I think just thinking about that so hard and like trying to make sure there were opportunities for the 3 of you to do things during the week, and trying to, I mean, it's hard to teach like a toddler what time is, you know, when you're coming back. And so she experienced, you know, her parents are together, but she experienced some turmoil as a result of divorce because you were gone sometimes. And, you know, that's hard to process. And so that's had an impact on who she is and how she sees the world too. And then also you gained 4 sisters at your other house.
Yeah.
But then you also gained a brother at our house who was older already, in, I think when we met was just finishing college. So he was older. And then since then he's gotten married and had kids. And so you've been an aunt several times over on both sides.
Yeah.
So there's opportunities there that aren't always typical, you know, at the ages you were. And So yeah, managing 3 with those different caveats of like how we lived, presents its own challenges. And then wanting to go back to work because I tried to stay home, and I did, but like that was really hard.
Yeah.
So going back to work, sort of tiptoeing in part-time. And really while you guys were at school and stuff, so my work didn't really impact my time with you at that time, because I just begged that company for a job to let me out of my house. I was like, I'm overqualified, but please just talk to me, and I promise. Like, and even in my interview, I was like, I will do anything, and I'll do it better than anyone else if you just let me come here like a few hours a day. So fortunately, that worked out, and they were very flexible and nice. And so yeah, and then so then we had 4 here, and then 3 years later, we had your brother.
Yes.
And he was so sweet, and also 4th C-section. Yeah. And by then, they came in and they're like, yeah, like, did you have a C-section? I'm like, yeah, let's get the show on the road. Yeah. But then, we were there for an extended time for him too, and very similar experience, but in different places. And again, those moments, man, when you feel like, there's some threat to your child, it's like you would just move literally anything to make sure they're okay. And then 3 other kids at home, and the 2 of you go to your dad's, and so then your sister was at home, and we had to have like family come in, and I think that was probably one of the most challenging things, that I've been through as a parent, because I'm in the moment, just having had surgery with a new human to be responsible for, and running all these tracks about like, where are the other kids? How are they? Who's taking care of them? So yeah, that was really challenging. And then I remember when we came home from the hospital finally, everybody was watching Frozen. And so I was like, I'll just lay on the floor and watch that with them. And then she started singing Let It Go. And I was like, here comes like, I don't know, decades
everything
of
bottled
emotion. Yeah. And then your poor brother, was like 3 years of Let It Go, just Elsa, and his initiation was all dresses.
Yes.
And he knew the songs, and he was so sweet. Yeah.
He was good with it.
Yeah, he didn't mind.
Was it different parenting going from 3 girls and then having a boy? Was it different, like parenting that, or was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, your sister was very strong-willed, as we number 3, and so I had met my match when she was running things, and then when your brother was born, I was still like high RPMs, ready to react, and the first time he did something that I thought I had to correct, he was like a toddler or whatever, and I corrected him in kind of a firm way because I was used to, and I'm not saying these corrections with your sister were the right way, it's just how I was. And I was like, no, or something like that. And he was, I watched him be scarred. I don't know, broken. Like all I said was affirm, and he was so sad. Yeah. And then I was so sad because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to remember that I don't have to be firm like that. Like to this day, you do not have to be that firm. Yeah. He is sort of logical, and he just wants to know what he's supposed to be doing. And you can have a conversation with him or just direct him, and it makes sense to him and he'll do it. But coming at him in a way that I would, other personalities was not going to work. Yeah. And I feel like that's similar for most parents, not that particular instance, but every child is an individual child. And so you have to really learn who they are and how do they receive information? What are they really saying when they talk to you? Those are sort of the like intricacies of being a parent.
Yeah.
And to be interested in them helps you learn that, you know. So yeah, I thought that I'm not going to have to like ever talk to him like that. Ever.
Yeah.
You know, and you really don't.
Yeah.
And he has so many moms, you know.
Yes.
As the youngest and a boy, it's like over-mothered
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
And now he's 11, and it's like,
Probably don't still need 4 moms.
probably don't. Not in the way we've done it. You know, it's
Right.
like you can do stuff for yourself.
Right.
But we have to coach ourselves on that as much as, I mean, he's not going to not take the help.
Right.
He's not going to not let you do stuff for him.
He's still like
so.
5 in my brain.
I know,
don't
same.
I can't.
Yeah. It's strange, but it's hard to acknowledge that that time is passing. I think. So yeah, so now here we are. We have 5 and 2 grandkids, and they're great. And you know, now that, I mean, the youngest is 11, so people are really self-sufficient, and so this is a new chapter sort of too for me, like to come out of that sort of maintenance parenting too, where like you have to make sure everything. I still do that to a degree, as you know.
Yeah.
But all of that, like doing everything for everybody stuff, I don't really need to do that anymore. And so that is something to process, you know, as a mom. And people need me in new ways, but they don't need me all the time. And so what do I do with that time? And as a person who has grew up like everything is a possibility and trying to be capable, and so now I find myself like signing up for things that are still new experiences, or things I've done in the past that I forgot that I didn't want to do but did again.
Right.
But even like with this show, or my life coaching business, or tackling Instagram, you know, and like just those new things to try to stay engaged in life. You know, I want to live a long time, so I'm trying to organize my life in a way where I take care of myself, but I'm not sacrificing who I am as a parent, and so still trying to be present for that, but also I don't want just time where I'm not doing things or don't feel useful. So, you know, children's books and having published those, and want to continue doing that, but also I'm writing that book for moms, and finishing up my PhD, and it's hard for me to imagine, you know, I'll be done with that in the spring, and then it's like, that's been such a huge part of our existence for a handful of years now. My gosh, like, what am I going to do? What's going to be my next thing to get after?
You'll find something.
Yeah. Hopefully. It's not going to be a half marathon.
No. We're probably going to be done with those.
We're done with those for sure. Maybe a 5K, but no more of those. So, but yeah, that's an example of like, everything's an opportunity. I know I'm capable. Like, I'll sign up for that. And then it's like the days are closing in. And I mean, I just like did not want to do it.
Yeah.
And I did it anyway, you know, because I've worked on my commitment thing. But it's smart to really consider what you're getting into, because it was hot and hard. And I'm happy I did it, but no more of that. So.
Yes.
So yeah. So I know I'm the guest, but what is your maybe perspective on, you know, I'm putting you on the spot too. We didn't talk about this.
It's okay. I'm prepared.
Of being like maybe your perspective, having grown up in that, because I think a lot of times we think we know, you know, with our kids, we have conversations with them and we can assess that and come up with what we think they're thinking.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for moms to know, like, they can still stay who they are and pursue that, and it doesn't have to come at the expense of the kids.
Yeah, I would say that for me, it's just very like, I'm very motivated by it, seeing how you work and how you have so many things all the time that you're doing. And it's just like, I want to do that too. Like, I want to have things, I want to always be pursuing something. Like, I like to have goals as well. So I think it's super inspiring for me to see you doing that and like accomplishing all of that. And then also I'm super grateful because all of my parents are super supportive in what I'm doing. And I'm also really, I like to talk, and I'm a pretty good communicator about like if I need something or if I need support, if I need help, whatever it is. Like, I'm easy, like I can talk about that. I can talk to you guys about it, and I'm never like, it's never a struggle to talk to you guys, which is super great because it just makes everything so much easier when you're able to have like a civil conversation about something that I need or struggle with or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
That's good to hear. I think, you know, the ability to ask for help. Like, I have to really talk to myself about that. So I'm happy to know like that you're not, that you don't hesitate to do it. I really feel like on the other end of that, you really sort of exhaust your resources first. You know, it's not like you're just asking all the time for stuff or how to do something or whatever. Like you very much try to figure it out. You know, so so yeah, that's a nice little balance I think that we have going on. And again, every child is different. You know, every child maybe wouldn't be motivated. You know, some people will feel slighted, and it's hard as a parent to understand that. But I would say again, being interested in your kids, like genuinely, like you and your siblings, you know, are my favorite people. Like, you're my favorite people. So I think, you know, being interested and invested and committed, that really is, I mean, all of you are really the first thing I think like I ever committed to that I would never not be around for. You know? Just after a life of leaving everything. And, you know, even in marriage and stuff like that, like to look back and see the carnage of that or try to repair things, you know, that's really difficult in the aftermath. But, you know, kids, that's a different story, like committed forever. And so, I mean, I've learned a lot about myself and just trying to improve who I am, you know, through those relationships. And
definitely being able to listen, like the fact that you're able to listen to me and be patient with, like, when I tell you I need something or when I tell you, like, this is how I have to process something, and then I can, like, talk about it, like, stuff like that. Being able to listen and adjust to, like, how each of your kids process something, because it's going to be different. Like, at least from what I've noticed and from my own experiences, it really helps to be able to adjust how you are kind of parenting in a way at that point. It, like, is so helpful because then you're understanding us more and we're understanding that you are going to be there regardless. So.
And I really am.
Yeah.
And you really taught me, you know, as the first too, like, and you're a compassionate person. You have a lot of empathy for things. And you're sort of I mean, I would say natural leader. And you have figured out a way to communicate with me that is very effective. That just as my own individual self, I feel like very few people in my life have figured out how to do that effectively. It's not their fault. It's the way that I respond to that. And so, so you have really taught me, you know, so much just about, I don't know, like how to be, I guess, how to experience what somebody else is experiencing in a compassionate way without trying to present them a solution. I think that has been a huge lesson for me in being your mom is they're allowed to feel this way. There may be something you can fix about it. We don't have to do that now. And I certainly don't have to be the person that presents that. So that is, you know, as a person who always wants to, like...
Well, I do it too,
but you can recognize that.
Yeah.
So, so that has been a huge lesson for me from you and your siblings too. You know, they've just taught me so much about just human interaction and how to be present for somebody, even if you can't fix anything.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want you to fix anything. You know, sometimes people they just want another person around who allows them to feel what they're feeling. And yeah, so that's been a big lesson for me.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Of course, anytime.
Okay, so we covered a lot.
Yeah.
Any other questions while I'm captive here?
I don't know. I don't think so. I kind of know a lot already, though, so
Yeah.
I think we covered a lot of what I wanted to ask.
Okay. And, I mean, I have an opportunity on this show to share things, you know, that I think are helpful for moms. But I think that just being interested in your kids is a big one. Because even when you don't know what to do, that validation, it's a natural thing if you're genuinely interested in the people you're raising.
Yes.
And so if you can do nothing else, you can give a person that, and that validation is like the greatest human need. So
yeah.
So yeah, and then I think the other thing is we tend to always think about what we aren't able to do. We can't provide. We didn't do in that moment. And I think it's important for moms to take time to think about all the things they could do, all the things they did show up for, you know, all the moments they were there when things were difficult, and focus on that, you know, instead of we're so hard on ourselves, you know, about what we couldn't do or can't do or stuff like that. So, okay, so are we good?
I think so.
Okay. Maybe you should come back and...
I would love to come back.
Yeah, we should talk about from the kids. Maybe you and your siblings should come and we should do a little
I'll
interview.
lead it, of course.
Naturally, of course. You'll lead
Of course.
So. Okay, well, thank you so much for doing this. This was fun.
I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you for joining us today. Please remember to keep your perspective, but don't be afraid to step into somebody else's. Like we have done today. Don't be afraid to ask your kids, you know, what they think about your relationship, and I think you'll be surprised to find the answers. Maybe don't ask in the heat of like a difficult moment, but to understand how they're viewing you. Be resilient. Show up every day, even when it's hard. The world needs you. Your kids need you. You need you. And continue to continue to fill your life with things that challenge you and stretch you and show you what you're capable of and how to harness that opportunity and get after it. And don't feel alone. You're in a group of about 2 billion women around the world, and we're here for you. Thank you.